Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. So we're going to have a look at Come Together by the Beatles. This is stick with this one, it's got some really interesting muting and a nice tasty little solo. If you stick with it, you can get quite a lot out of it for your sort of rhythm guitar, sort of shuffle work. There's a full PDF of this that you can download for free. You can get it one of two ways. You can either head to the first link in the description and then that'll take you to our private Facebook group. Join the group, navigate to the Files tab and you'll find this along with every other lesson I've ever taught. You can download the tabs completely for free. If Facebook's not your thing, you by all means can join our email list. So that's the second link in the description, and you'll get a weekly email with a roundup of every tab that we've taught that week direct into your inbox, and those go out on a Saturday morning Greenwich Meridian time. So this piece, I just want to caveat. I'll put that on the screen while I'm waffling. This piece, I've taken the approach of I'm the only guitar player on the gig, and also with no keys player. There's like a bit of a keys solo later on here. I've made that part fit guitar so that you've got something to play throughout and you never sat on your hands. There's a couple of different guitars all laid on top of each other. I've just taken the sort of playing in a band approach. I'm the only guitarist on the gig, and I want to play all the cool bits that the audience would miss. So I would advise downloading the free tab for this, and it'll help you with the structure because it's a lot of the same thing round and round and round, and it's a 4-pager. It's all tabbed out. It's really easy to follow. So we're going to start with the intro riff. Now this is often mistaken for the bass and the guitar play two separate riffs. Now the guitar does this. And the bass does like an extra little bit. And the idea is that they weave in and out of each other. So I'm going to start with my index finger on the 10th fret of the low E. I'm going to pick that twice with 2 downstrokes. And then I'm going to bar the 10th fret of the A and the D strings. And I'm going to pluck just those 2 strings with my plectrum. And then with the ring finger, I'm going to hammer both those notes down. And it sort of creates the sort of bit more of a rocky full sound. If I put a little bit of drive on, can you hear that sustain? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my index finger down to the 10th fret of the D string, and I'm going to play that note. And can you see how it appears in the second bar? Now, you see how it's in brackets and I've got these lines, these ties holding it together. I call these washing lines. Now what that means is you're going to play that 10th fret here, and you're going to hold it for so long that it actually spills over into the next bar. You don't need to play this a second time. It's just a continuation, and you play this 10th fret and you hold on to it until you hit the next bar. Now this riff is repeated 4 times in the intro. Pause the video and get that under your fingers. It's fairly straightforward is that bit. Then we get into the verse. Now it'd be really easy for me to just teach you the tabs and not teach you the muting for this, because the muting, you could do this and it doesn't sound like it, and it doesn't sound it even more when my G string's out of tune. So let me just quickly nip that up. This guitar is glorious. I love it, but it never stays in tune. And it's because of this hunk of metal down here, but then that's why I bought it, so I can't really complain, can I? Right, so we're going to do a D5 power chord down here, and what that means is I'm going to play the open D string and I'm going to play the 2nd fret of the G, and I'm just going to play those 2 notes together to create a little dyad. Now I'm going to use my index finger on that 2nd fret. Now let's get the numbers first, and then we'll talk about those funny little 7 things, the rests in the tab. So I'm essentially going to play a short burst of those 2 notes, followed by a longer burst. So you see the sheet music underneath. The first one's a quaver, the second one's a crotchet. So I'm going to play a short one, and then a longer one. I'm then going to take either my ring finger or my pinky. I'm going to use my ring finger, and I'm going to repeat that motion over there. So that's level 1. 4 strokes per bar. Now that's okay, but it doesn't have the bounce that the original tune has. Now, this is where these funny little sevens come in. Can you see them in between the twos and in between the fours? Now what that means is you're going to play the first note in that bar, in bar 1. But then you're going to mute the strings. You're going to play a quick note, and then watch this finger over here. Now, I'm muting it, but this D string will sometimes ring out. Don't worry about that too much. As long as you're kind of muting it, showing a little bit of willing, you will get that sound. So I play the note, I then mute it, and then I put my finger back on and play it again. Can you hear that gap? Now I'm doing a little bit of muting here, and I'm doing a little bit with the plectrum. And that gap in the music gives it a little bit of a bounce, and we repeat that on the 4th fret. So you hear how we'll play a note, mute it, play it again for a little bit longer. We'll move to the next note, play it, mute it, leave a gap. So you've got a short one, rest, long one. Short note, rest, long note. Da 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 da, and it sort of gives you that marching. But can you watch my hand? Can you see over here? I'm helping mute that string over here, but also with my plectrum and a little bit of flesh on this hand, I'm stopping that D string from ringing out. Now you're going to do that for 8 bars throughout the verse, so you need to get used to the idea. You're going to sit on that for quite a while. Can you see here, look? So you've 8 bars of 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And then it goes to A5. So let me just... Yes, right one. So then for the remainder, you've done 8 bars on that D chord. You're going to take this figure that we've just been doing. We're going to take it and move it up a string. And we're going to do it on the A string and the D string this time, which gives you an A5 chord. And we're going to do that for 4 bars. Same technique with the muting. And after you've done that for 4 bars, you're going to play a G chord. And again, we've got washing lines appearing here again, look. It lasts, you strum it on beat 1 of that bar, and you hold it for 2 whole bars, 8 whole beats. So you'll go, starting from the beginning on that A, where that A first appears. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just horrendously miscounted that, but we'll ignore that. But you see how the lyrics different each time, but then can you see how the repeat marker comes in, and that section, it goes right back up to, you see how there's my reciprocal repeat marker there. Now if you look at the PDF that I've done for this, it's the entire verse 1 and verse 2 sits in between those repeat markers, and it's bookended with so that's what I consider to be a verse. Now the chorus is the that's what I'm considering to be a chorus, but it's just one way of it all sort of coming back full circle. So what does that look like? It's a B5, a G5 and an A5 chord. So these are power chords. If you're struggling to get the pinky in for the notes on the D string, you can get away with just doing the index and the ring finger. I'll leave the ball in your court for that. So I'm going to start with the B5 power chord. Now I've purposely done all of this on the low E string so that it follows all, it's the same shape for all 3 of the chords rather than having to mess around down here between strings. So I'm going to play my index finger on the 7th fret of the low E string, my ring finger on the 9th fret of the A string, and my pinky on the 9th fret of the D string. And when I play this chord, I'm only going to strum those 3 strings. Now I'm going to play that in crotchets. Now the tempo for this song is like something like 168 BPM or something. It's quite fast, and I'm thinking about this in half time as opposed to double time. I want you to play 6 of these with then going to move down over here, should say A5. I missed that out. Can you see how the numbers are different between the second, I'm looking at the second bar, second note in the second bar, and the third note in the second bar. We take that B5 chord, I've just played it 4 times in this bar, 2 times here, and we move it down 2 frets to the 5th fret, 7, 7. I've just taken the same shape and moved it down. I'm going to hit it twice there. I then go to the G chord in bar 3. I take that shape, just move it down again. And we're going to play that 4 more times. And then I move back up to 5 for that A in bar 4. And I hit it just the once. And then I mute it. Can you see these rests, these funny looking squiggles? Those are called quaver rests, and the lyric should be over me. Over here's come together, right now, over me. Come together, right now, over me. I will fix that the PDF will have that A5 put in. That's just a transcribing error on my part. I'll make sure that I put that in. So those are the 2 sort of main sections for the song. And you're essentially going to play verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And then you've got this like little instrumental section at the end. Now it starts with the keys part, and then George Harrison comes in with the solo. And we're going to look at both of those parts today. I've put the keys part in because I figured you probably don't have a keyboard player sat waiting in the wings in your little practice space. So I thought we might as well play that part. Now underneath the keys part, I've put a loop on the looper to show you. Underneath the keys part, there's a D chord. It's the... Then when the bends come in for the guitar solo, the whole band moves to an A. So if you want to practice this with your looper at home, you want a loop with 8 bars of D and then probably another 8 bars of that A. So you're going 8 bars of D, 8 bars of A, and you should be able to marry both the parts up. Let's learn the bits and then I'll show you the loop. So, the keys part, it rests on beat 1, so you're going to let the band do the start note. And we're going to start with this index finger on the 13th fret of the high E string. And I'm going to play that note 7 times with all even with down and up strokes. I'm playing the entire first bar and that first 13th fret on the second bar. Repeat that back to me if you can. Parrot that back to me. I'm using the index finger on the 13th fret and see how I'm using down and up picking. I'll then take the ring finger, move up to the B string, and I'm going to play the 15th fret. It's a D note. I'm going to play the 13th fret immediately after it, and then return to that D note on the 15th. Now notice how all the notes in this bar are quavers, they last for half a beat apiece. These last for a crotchet, so these are quick, these are a bit slower. These are quick, these are a little bit slower. And can you see how it just repeats? It repeats these 2 bars again, and then we've got repeat marks on the whole section. So you're going to play this riff 4 times. So that's normally done like this, but we're doing it like this for today. Pause and get that under your fingers. We are going to come back here when we glue it all together. Immediately after that, we've got a solo part. So we're going to take the 15th fret of the high E string. I'm going to bend it a full step. So we're bending this 15, we're bending this G note up to an A. And then I'm going to, in bar 2, I'm going to bend it again. And then bend it a 3rd time. But can you see how here and here, the bend goes up, the line goes up, the arrow goes up. Here, the arrow goes up, but then comes back down. So what that means is we've got to bend the note up, and then keep the pressure and bring it back down, and then play the 13th fret. I'm just going to play this note here. I'll play the first 2 and watch what I'm doing here. I said I was only going to play 2, I played 3, but you get the idea. That 3rd time, I bend it up and bring it back down. Then play the 13th fret. First 2 bars. Now I've pulled off there. You can pull off if you want. And then we finish that bit by doing a big fat 15 bend again. See how the washing lines have returned? We're going to bend this 15th fret, and you're gonna sustain it for so long it actually occupies 2 bars. The whole thing. We are coming back here, so if you feel like I'm rattling through it a bit quick, we are going to glue all this together. It pretty much does the same thing again in the first 2 bars of this. So the first 2 bars are the same. But then here, instead of bending the 15th fret of the high E, we're going to bend the 15th fret of the B. So if I do those back to back, you've got... And then we round that off. I'm over here now. I bend the 15th fret on the B string. I bend it once, I bend it again, but then see the line, it comes back down. It's the same lick, it's just on a different string. And then we go back to the bottom line for the high E string and do a big fat bend. So, I know I've labelled it keys and solo, but if I was playing this in a band, which I have done, I've done this before for a few of the KGS gigs, I just treat it all as the solo. So the top line is repeated twice, and the band will be playing a D chord underneath, and then where the solo comes in with that bend on the 15th fret, that's an A chord. So let me see if I can put that together. So I've put my loop on. Repeat it. Solo. Right, we'll try that again, but I'll do a close-up this time without the tabs on screen. There you go, almost looks like I know what I'm doing. Right, so from that point, it'll go back into a verse and a chorus, and then you'll see at the end of the PDF, I've not got it within reach, at the end of the PDF you'll see that the band they'll go to they'll all sit on a D chord on the, it says, and there's a big kind of jam at the end. Now, all George Harrison's doing there is sort of pentatonic licks in, you know, if they're going... Those of you that did the improvising course, D minor pentatonic, so your first position, from fret 10, and rather than trying to, I think it's a waste of your time trying to sort of go really granular and learn every single lick in that ending, because it's all improvised. So I'd like you to do the same. Now we've got the solo, we've got the cliff notes for the solo, and I want you to take some licks out of that, you know, particularly that sort of second position. If we're in, you know, that second position, we've done position 1. Position 2 is that sort of what they call the BB box, isn't it? You get some really cool licks in there. Just be wary if the band go to an A, that minor pentatonic might be a little bit sketchy. You might have to go to the major. But all that can be found in the improvising course that I did a couple of months ago. Head to the channel and check that out. So tones. I'm using the ES355. They were known for playing casinos and those kind of guitars, and it's the nearest to what I had. I've just got a clean tone on the Princeton. My treble and bass are both on 5. My reverb's on 3. I'm using the neck pickup. The neck pickup on this guitar's lovely. It's definitely a little bit hotter than the bridge for some reason. I'm not complaining. And then for my gain, I'm using the Tube Screamer with the volume, tone and level all at 12 o'clock. Now, the only bit of advice that I'd give you, don't use the overdrive for the... Just use it for the big bits, you know. You know, put it on for those bits and for the... Think of it for getting more sustain than anything else. But if you're bending those notes, those really long notes, and you've got any sort of spare time, make sure you're giving it plenty of vibrato while it's up there and it'll sound great. So, hope you found that helpful. You got a recommendation for one of my electric guitar lessons that I post on a Friday you'd like me to cover? Let me know in the description below. In the comments below. I'll see you next week for another electric guitar lesson. Thank you so much.